I cannot believe this. We're talking about what Sean McVay had to say after the Rams loss, as well as a player who is in the conversation already potentially to win Offensive Player of the Year, as well as another player who probably should be in the conversation, all on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press that subscribe button now, as roughly 61.4% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not pressing that subscribe button. All I'm saying is if you're already watching, you might as well press the subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. First things first, kind of getting into the gist of all of this today, we're talking about Rams coach Sean McVay, how he's sick after regrettable call, an overtime loss to the 49ers. Bad call by me. This comes to us from Around the NFL writer Nick Shook. And so the reason why I'm bringing this up and the reason why we're talking about this is because the Rams lost, and it was a tough one, right? But nobody really wants to hear, no Rams fans really want to hear, Sean McVay or everybody else on this team kind of saying, like, this is on me, right? Kyren Williams came out and said, this is on me. Sean McVay says he's sick and it's a bad call. It's on me or by me. And ultimately, look, what else do you want them to say, right? I'm not trying to judge what they're saying, but I do want to say that it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of falling on deaf ears. We're hearing all these, well, the Rams want to now make some changes now, and they're going to start looking at things differently. And it's kind of like, too little too late. Not to say that the Rams can't come back and make changes and still have a successful season and potentially compete for a Super Bowl, but it's a little bit like you went into that game, you kind of played down to your competition, so to speak. I mean, credit to the 49ers. They played really well. Mac Jones played really well. Kendrick Bourne played really well, right? Their whole team played well overall. So I don't want to sit here and say the Rams just kind of played against a bad team and they lost, right? You're playing against a good team, well-coached team, who the backups came ready to play, and they beat you, right? So Rams made a lot of mistakes, shot themselves in the foot, and that's kind of the point of emphasis here. Whether it's Sean McVay saying it's his fault or someone else saying it's their fault, Kyren Williams fumbling the football, Blake Corum fumbling the football, Matthew Stafford, being inaccurate at some throws down the field, Sean McVay, bad play calling or regretting his play calling after the fact, decision making, right? Going into overtime, not saying you want to get the football to start overtime, right? Those are all decisions and things that happen throughout the game. It's a bunch of people's fault. That's not really the point here. The point is, it's a bunch of people's fault, and let's start figuring out how we can fix this rather than kind of sit and say, oh, it's my fault, my bad, and I got to fix this, it's on me, right? So that's kind of where I am at personally. It's a little frustrating to hear this stuff because, all right, let's just make some changes then. Let's just do what we should have done beforehand, right? We're talking about the cornerback room, maybe revisiting some free agents, things like that. But also let's talk about how we can start fixing this now, right? This is now back-to-back weeks. The Rams didn't look too great, right? So McVay says, I'm pretty sick right now. I'm sick of the spot that I put our group in to end the game. But hey, these are the tough beats that you got to be able to learn from and move forward. And that's what we're going to do. He also later in this conversation or in this quote, he kind of goes on to say he kind of regrets going back, hindsight, 2020. He thinks about going back and maybe he should have considered kicking the field goal more. He did not consider it at all, essentially, and regrets that. Maybe he thinks he should have kicked that. I don't think that's the case. I don't think you should probably have kicked that field goal 4th and 1. I'm happy the Rams went for it. And I even kind of said, right, maybe you just hand it off during the live stream. If you guys missed it, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss our live streams, the watch-alongs. But maybe, I said maybe you run it up the middle, but I think everyone kind of sees that coming. I would have liked to see maybe some type of fade route to Devontae Adams just to kind of catch them off guard. You're attacking the red zone in a moment where they're just trying to stop 1 yard. Maybe you go a quick slant, Puka Nacua, maybe a drag route to one of your tight ends, maybe a up the seam type of throw to one of your tight ends, play action maybe. All those things could have happened, right? Joshua Feinhurst was kind of saying maybe we could have had a QB wildcat with your tight end, Terrence Ferguson. Not sure how serious Josh was about that. But ultimately, be creative, right, was kind of the hope there. And he didn't do that. Sean McVay didn't. And it is what it is. You lose the game. You learn from it, right? And that is kind of where I do agree with Sean McVay. I agree with a lot of the players saying, well, we got to learn from this and move on. A lot of Rams fans are going to be out there. You guys are going to be freaking out, kind of thinking that this season's over and this is not a Super Bowl contending team and this team isn't good enough. But again, I need to remind you, last year, just off of injuries alone, this team looked like they were headed for a rebuild very early on, actually deep into the regular season. They were looking really, really rough. We thought maybe it was time to rebuild this Rams organization. They got Davante Adams, or even before they got Davante Adams, right? Going into the playoffs, they got themselves into the playoffs, competed really well. The defense woke up, and this team went and competed against the eventual Super Bowl champions. Lost, but you did have a good game against that team. And so the point that I'm saying is let's not freak out too much, right? As fans, I think it's part of our job, right, to kind of uphold and kind of hype up the team and be like, you know what, let's get them next week, right? Frustrating to say right now on Saturday when the game just happened Thursday and we have so many days left before the Rams are able to go out there and play football again. But that is kind of the mentality I'm trying to take of like, all right, it is what it is. Let's move on. The season's not over, but there's a lot of things the Rams need to fix and work on, and they know that, and they need to hit the drawing board. And we kind of know they're going to keep saying all this stuff. It's my fault. It's just whatever. Fix it, right? That's kind of the main point here that we're talking about here. But moving on from that, some interesting, an interesting topic, I guess, to discuss. And I don't really agree with this one here. I can't really believe this part. This is where the thumbnail comes from, right? So Rams star named Offensive Player of the Year candidate. This comes to us from Tyler Greenawalt of the Rams Wire. And it's actually a player that I'm kind of more intrigued that is even in the conversation, and someone I don't really think should be in the conversation. And not in a bad way against this one particular player, but I think we should be hyping up and talking about another player if it comes down to Offensive Player of the Year candidates, right? At this point in time, I think one specific player on offense has really proven to be in that conversation versus any others on the Rams offense, quite frankly. And so right now we're talking about this player here, Matthew Stafford. So through 5 games, Stafford has thrown 1,503 yards and 11 touchdowns. We'll see where he ranks after the rest of the teams play their games this week, but his 300.6 passing yards per game is already his most since 2019 when he was still on the Detroit Lions, and puts him right behind, oddly enough, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Mac Jones, the closest quarterback with 4 or more starts. Meanwhile, is Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott. Sorry, this is kind of like a mistyping on the article, not me just not being able to read, even though sometimes I struggle reading. Stafford is an elite player, but he's playing at a higher level despite being in his 17th season in the league. It seems, too, that he has 2 top 10 receivers in Puka Nacua and Davante Adams. The running game is still a work in progress, but it's been good enough to support a 3-2 team that was a play away from winning both its losses. If Stafford keeps playing like this, he could be a candidate for the award, the full award at the end of the season. And if that's the case, the Rams will be a true contender in the league. And so, yes, there's a couple things true here. If Stafford continues to play the way he does, maybe he'll be in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year. And if he is in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year, well, then he's going to put the Rams in a good position come down to playoff time, right? And they're going to be real legit contenders in the NFL if Stafford can play, at a all-pro kind of Offensive Player of the Year type of level. However, if we're going to be talking about anyone being Offensive Player of the Year right now, I definitely think it's Puka Nacua. He's just been such a strong player for you so far this season. He's been dominant in terms of yardage, receptions, and whatnot. Yes, touchdowns haven't really been there as much, although he got one against San Francisco. I don't really think you could have a conversation about Offensive Player of the Year without talking about Puka Nacua and Puka Nacua only right now. Devontae's a beast as well. Kyren's been playing well as well, but ultimately with this specific Rams team, Puka Nacua has been the driving force of your offense, with all the pieces, of course, around it being very, very helpful in kind of upholding him and helping him get open at times because there's so many other threats on the offense. But nonetheless, Puka Nacua is your Offensive Player of the Year candidate if you have one on this team. And if he continues to play the way he's been playing, and Stafford, of course, is getting him the football, then I think the Rams have a legitimate chance to win and beat anybody. But, of course, Stafford gets his credit, too. He's been playing really well. I want to give him his credit, but I think we should just kind of really focus on Puka Nacua if we're talking about anyone for that one particular award. Moving on from that, we're talking about Trivia of the Day. Last episode's Trivia of the Day, if you missed it, we pulled up this question here. Which team was the first in NFL history to win the Super Bowl after starting the season with a losing record through 10 games? So this was the question we asked everyone. We had some multiple choice options for you all last episode. The multiple choice options were, was it A, the New York Giants? Was it B, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Was it C, the Arizona Cardinals? Or was it D, none? It's never happened in the NFL. Which team was the first in NFL history to win the Super Bowl after starting the season with a losing record through 10 games? A few of you guys did play along with the trivia of the day. I always appreciate when you guys do this. So here are the shout outs for who played along last episode. If I could find them. Here we go. Last episode, these are the people who guessed. Maybe I don't have them here. Okay, here we go. Last episode, these are people that guessed. MM's Junior Manuel, he says, "Hey Josh, 3 questions for you. Number 1, why are you always late rushing off to work?" Great question, Manuel. I need to figure that out in my own life. That's a question I'm asking myself, Manuel. And number 2, where do you work? Let's just say I don't really want to put out where I work, but or what I do for work necessarily at this time. But let's just say I'm currently trying to work in professional sports. Does that make sense? I'm trying to work for a professional sports organization somehow, some way, full time. This is kind of a part-time thing on the side. Most of my jobs right now are part-time. I have multiple part-time jobs, but I am trying and striving to get full-time work for a sports organization, because in my experience the last couple years has been really fun. I've worked for a couple different LA sports professional organizations. That's not the best way to say it. And so that's the goal here. I'm trying to get full-time in a professional sports organization. And number 3, the New York Giants, was his trivia of the day guess. Floyd says, "Hello, Josh, you need never to apologize for me getting something wrong, or you'll be apologizing quite a bit. I'm wrong far more times than I'm correct. I'm going to say the New York Giants, since I think they were actually a wild card team. The last time they won a Super Bowl, maybe the only one 9 games that year. Anyway, New York Giants is my guess for today's trivia." Jason Jackson says Giants, 2007, ? Raul says, "I believe the 1980 Oakland Raiders beat the Philadelphia Eagles with a wild card record of 9-7, according to my All Madden knowledge." And then Brian Hill says the New York Giants. Appreciate all of you guys for commenting with the trivia of the day guesses. Always appreciate when you guys play along. The correct answer for this trivia of the day of who was the first NFL team in history to win the Super Bowl after starting the season with a losing record through 10 games, the correct answer is D. None of the above. This has never happened. And I'm a little surprised about that, because I do feel like the New York Giants were 8-8 when they won the Super Bowl, right? Maybe both times they're actually having a pretty bad record. So I thought maybe they could start the season, with a under 500, sub 500 record, and then kind of pick it up toward the end there. But apparently that is not the case. So no one got it correct. I really appreciate all of you guys for playing along with Trivia Today. Regardless, if you want to shout out just like these folks just got on the next episode that we're on here at the Rams Digest, go ahead and play along with today's Trivia of the Day, which is going to be this question here. Today's Trivia of the Day: who was the first rookie quarterback to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and take his team to the playoffs in the same season? We're talking about the early 2000s era here. So who was the first rookie quarterback to win Offensive Rookie of the Year and then lead his team to the playoffs in the same season? Multiple choice options for you all. Is it A, Ben Roethlisberger? Is it B, Andrew Luck? Is it C, Robert Griffin III? Or D, Matt Ryan? Who was the first rookie quarterback to win Offensive Player of the Year and take his team to the playoffs in the same season? Ben Roethlisberger, Andrew Luck, Robert Griffin III, or Matt Ryan? Give your guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right, whether you're wrong, give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Hope you guys enjoy a Sunday full of football. I'm actually going to be just attending, hanging out. No reason, no affiliation with any team. I'm going to be hanging out watching the Chargers game at SoFi Stadium tomorrow. Maybe a little tailgate sesh as well. So I'll probably be out there at SoFi Stadium. So maybe I'll see some of you guys out there. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.